Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the new Awakening cards. They're all in the client, so we can go through and check them out, just see what's going on here. Don't like that they're grayed out, but what else is going on here? Clodog, 2 power, 3/1. Being a 3/1's definitely a detriment. But I guess once it gets powered up, a 5/3 for 2 is pretty good. And plundering is fine. I don't know, I'd say this one's pretty medium as far as cards go. If we had to rate them, I'd put it at like a 5. Probably good in draft, maybe. And other than that, it probably just dies to Blight Moth a lot and Vara's Favors and stuff like that. There's just like better stuff in Fire. Reactor Forge. Oh, this is the meme Relic. I'm sure there's some sort of combo deck that wants this, but I don't know, man. This seems very high risk, medium reward, I would say. If you're not a time deck, I guess this gets more valuable. And maybe if they ever print Wyatt himself as a card instead of Wyatt's Junkyard, like if we just get the regular Wyatt, maybe this could see play in that kind of style of deck, where you're like self-harming yourself. But I don't know, I'm sure there's some deck that wants this, because you just generate a ton of power and then hope you're not dead before you combo off. So, you know, like a Talir combo deck or something might want this, but it's really hard to say. Detective Flamebot. What? This isn't one of the ones I've seen. When a spell is played directly on Detective Flamebot, it deals 3 damage to the enemy player. Detective Flamebot, that's his official name. Yeah, I don't know. I guess this pops weapons pretty well. He has the decay. And it's a grenadine, but it doesn't really do grenadine things. So this seems like it's gonna take a lot of effort to make it good. Are you like levitating this? I don't know. Let's just keep going. Corona Ritual. Okay. Is this just like drinking beer? Anyway, let's look at the card. Sacrifice a unit to play 2 incarnations with attack and health equal to its attack. Buff them equal to its health. Get its battle skills. This is a 5 power card. I guess you get 2 guys out of 1 guy. So that's some math there. And if that guy has battle skills, you get, you know, them on both guys. So you can like use Killer on something and then play this and then Killer something else. But I don't think you're ever gonna have 3 fire, 5 time, and 5 justice in the same deck. So I don't know. I really hope this isn't a player-made card, because it's... I'm just going to keep going. Eled Ascending. Your attacking units have decay. This guy gets to be a 2 power 3/3. So that's kind of cool. So that already sets this guy apart from some of the other ones. At least from Clodog? Yeah. So Eled is ascending. Your units have decay when you're attacking. That's definitely something. He's a warrior dinosaur. For reasons we'll never know. I guess having a dinosaur standing behind you makes you a dinosaur, even though the card's named after Eled. Oh, maybe it's Eled ascending because he like stands on the dinosaur. That might be it. And then if you have 6 time, he has enough power to stand on the dinosaur, and that's why he's ascending. Maybe that makes sense. You can see the dinosaur in the background. I'm not sure which dinosaur that is. I don't recognize it. We can try and look for it later. Oh, is it his mount? Demon at Arms says it's his mount. Whatever. That's interesting. +2/+2 and Overwhelm. That's pretty solid. You can give him Killer with that 1 power time card. I'm forgetting the name of it right now, even though it's just playing with it. And that'll give him +2/+2, so it'll be a 5/5. And then if you have +2 and Overwhelm, he's a 7/7 with Overwhelm. And then if you're playing other stuff too, they get buffed. So let's say you did that line and you like Killer Instinct is apparently the card. And then attack. And then you play another unit, and then that gets +7/+7. So, oh, Twilight Hunt. Yeah, that's it. Twilight Hunt is the card. Whatever. A lead seems good. People will play him. Hermit Gardener. Each of your Little Seeds ultimate 2 turns earlier, then play 2 0/2 Little Seeds. I like this. I think they should have pushed his stats a little more. Gonna feel really bad when someone just turned to seeds your Hermit Gardener, but you could play this in a token deck because it just makes 2 bodies. So that's cool. So like if you're playing like Xenon Obelisk and like stuff like that, Hermit Gardener just makes 3 dudes. If you're playing like a Shrine deck, this is just 3 bodies. If you just hate turn to seed, this does that too. Unfortunately, it doesn't pop your seeds immediately. I'd like to see that happen. But being a 5 power 6/5, semi-decent stats, he doesn't die to Jack, and he makes 2 chump blockers, so you can play him pretty much with without being a token deck. You could crack the earth this guy out. Seems neat. Your units get Deadly and Overwhelm. That's really good. When a unit attacks this turn, play a weapon on it. Your units go Berserk. So you're probably picking one. If we look at this as like an Elysian card, you know, that's solid. If we look at this as a Combrai card, it's also pretty good. So this could see play. You just put this in your market and like you get ahead on board and then you just play this. And if you're in a board stall, you just win immediately. So I can see this seeing some play. That's not really the type of deck I usually gravitate towards, so I'm not really going to brew with it, but I'm sure someone will. Sewer Kudzu. Entomb, if it's your turn, draw Sewer Kudzu from your void. So you give this guy Killer and he just comes back into your hand. That's neat. I guess if you ever found a way to give him Destiny, that's pretty funny, but I feel like that's too much effort. So you're probably just giving this guy Killer, and then him having Overwhelm's super solid. So, yeah, I don't know. Being 6 power is kind of expensive for this effect, but if you're ever playing a Grodov's Burden deck, I'm sure you're happy to have a Sewer Kudzu. And I don't know. It seems fine. It might see play, it might not. I wouldn't really be surprised if it's just kind of a random hedge card. There's other stuff at 6 power you'd rather give Killer, so we'll see what happens. Pending Execution. At the start of your turn, kill the cursed unit. When the cursed unit hits you, sacrifice Pending Execution. This is just another kill spell for 1 power. Isn't this the same as... Okay, so the other card was like 1 power. If they deal damage to you, kill it. And this guarantees the kill next turn. Seems fine. You just get punched in the face and then it dies. So that's cool. Curse decks will love to see this card. Actually, now that I say that, curse decks actually prefer that the card sits there on the board. But you can tutor this up with Parole's Choice anyway, so I'm sure someone will play this and want it. Kira Ascending. When you play a spell directly on Kira, draw a card. +2/+2 in endurance, and then when she attacks, give another attacking unit her attack and health. This seems really good. Seems like it'll see play in a lot of mono J stuff and base J. So good old Justice decks get another. There's the 3-drop guy where you target him and he draws cards, but this just seems better than that. So now maybe we'll see a dedicated, turbo pump deck that just looks to blow you out. Being a 3/2, that's very aggressive stats. But yeah, I reasonably expect to be getting blown out by this card a lot in the future. You can't even permafrost it, so yeah, seems good. Silver Knight, kill a ready enemy unit, gain its attack and armor? Oh, this gives you armor. That's cool. But they have to be sitting there. If they attacked you with it, you can't do anything about it. So if you're playing Horu, you kill their guy, gain armor, and then draw a card. And if you're playing Argenport, you kill it, and then they discard? I guess I could see the Argenport deck not minding having Silver Knight, and I could see a Horu deck not minding having it, like some sort of turbo value Horu control. But this seems super slow. Oh, it looks like it kills 2 in the Argenport version. It's a good catch there. So yeah, I mean, Argenport will like this. It's 2 for 1. If you find a way to play the 3-color deck, it's a 4 for 1. So that's neat. If you have a weapon in play, this effect is actually super solid. If you've got like 7 power and you're playing against a token deck and you just like play Silver Knight and then like Lightning Storm or something, that's kind of funny. This would combo really well with that there's this 2-drop thing, and let's just look at it. So this combos with let's look it up. It still has me locked in on these. Oh, it's because I own everything. What's it called? Essence Feast. So if you're playing a mill deck and you Essence Feast them, that seems hilarious. But yeah, neat card. Might see some play. Okay, what else we got here? Gold Plate Valkyrie. Flying Endurance, play a unit with cost 2 or less from your market. Whoa. This is an effect we haven't seen before, but it's on a 7-drop, so it'll probably not see any play. But maybe someone will prove me wrong. I have no idea what you'd care enough to put in your market to just jam into play with this, but well, whatever. Next up, We've got Dazzle. I saw this already. It just seems consistent. The fact that it plunders is kind of what sets this apart. Stun a guy, plunder, and counter a spell, plunder. Yeah, that seems fine. Not a lot to talk about here. You can Blazing Salvo this out. Control decks could even consider playing 4 of these, because even though it's just stuns against a lot of decks, against any enemy spell deck, this is gonna just blow open the this just blows open any enemy spell deck matchup. Like, if they're trying to win with spells and you just got 4 Dazzles in your deck, the fact that this plunders and is also not bad against aggro, because, like, if you want to play Dazzle, you're probably playing a deck with, like, 4 Harsh Rolls or 4 Shenra Speaks and, like, 4 whatevers. So you don't mind stunning a thing to, like, gain some life and then following it up with a board wipe later. So this is definitely a main deckable card, and I think we'll see a lot of it flying around. As sad as this is, this actually does dip into... If you've been watching my stream, you'll notice that I've been playing a lot of World Pyre and a lot of 8 of the Horror recently. And if this card becomes super mainstream, I'm just going to lose. I can still Reap, I guess, because this doesn't counter Reap. But that'll be pretty brutal if it ever comes up. I don't think main deckable counterspells is a good, healthy thing for this game. But I am not the devs. Moving along, we've got Jural ascending. When Jural attacks, draw a card, discard it unless it's a spell. So you could play this in a Reanimator deck. If you're like a base Primal Reanimator, I guess a Haunting Scream deck would come to mind. If you're playing a deck with a crap load of spells, then obviously you don't have to discard, but I feel like you'd probably want to leverage the discard. What else does this guy do? +2 and Berserk, so he's a 3/5. And let's see, Ascending. When you play a spell, deal its cost to the enemy player. So that's insane. Jural seems super good. It's really not that hard to hit 6 Primal. As we saw with Friends in Low Places, it's not even a challenge. People were helioing for like 3 or 4 on turn 6 pretty often, or turn 5 or whatever, so whatever. Jural seems good. I guess this is the primal version of these. You and your units get Aegis. Kill each enemy weapon. Each weapon in your deck gets... So this is cool. You have to be splashing fire for this, but this was definitely not an effect that you usually had tacked onto a primal card. That's for sure. Killing weapons. I guess it makes sense on a fire card or a shadow card, though, which is what this is, basically. But giving everything Aegis seems fine. For 5 power, that's super expensive. And it's not a fast spell, so can't really use it as a combat trick, which probably knocks this down a peg. I feel like Transpose being one of the few ways to give yourselves Snap Aegis. I guess Bubble Shield can do it. And the last time I was able to do it is if I was like second sighting that crappy dragon back in the day. And then like putting it on top of your deck. But yeah, if you're struggling against weapons, maybe this is good. Also, the fact that this buffs all your weapons is not a negligible thing. You could give that like, let's say we're playing Linray, I think's her name. We could play her, and then play like a few 5-cost relics, and a few 4-cost relics, and a few like 3-cost and 2-cost relics. And then just go like all the way down the chain. And each time you're just getting this massive buffed. Play a card from the enemy void, it gets... Whoa. Okay. Alright. Alright, so this is gonna be a 4 of in every single fine deck from now on. I don't like this card. I don't think they should have printed it, and we're gonna move right along. Isra Loyal Mount. When one of your units hits a player, Isra gets +1. This just seems... This is a draft card. This is a draft bomb. That's what this is. I guess being a 4/5 for 5 is okay. It doesn't die to Jack. I've listed off all of its good traits. Giving everything flying is neat. The serpent. So, not a lot to talk about here. Isra getting buffed when your units hit them is cool. This is a draft bomb. Like that's 100% what this is. You play this in draft, or you play this in your like sealed pool, and you just win the game if they don't kill it. Acantha Ascending. When Acantha attacks, play a 2/1 elf. +2/+2 in flying, and when she attacks, hits the enemy player, they sacrifice a unit. Let's start off with it dies the Jack. Even like a crappy Jack is just going to kill this. But, you know, for a 2-drop, we kind of expect that. All that aside, 2 of these don't die to Jack, so that's something. And Shadow's usually known for having some beefier units, so I find it interesting that they made it more aggressive. Being an elf dragon is neat. I mean, elf and dragon are both actual supported card types. There's a lot of card types that aren't supported, so I guess if you're playing an elf deck, you probably play her, and if you're playing a dragon deck, you maybe play her. And yeah. Being a 4/3 with flying is cool when that happens. And whenever this becomes repeated removal, that's good. So it seems good at all stages of the game. Dying to Torch kind of sucks. Dying to Seer kind of sucks. It dies to an early Blight Moth. It's not exactly the most sticky of threats, but if it does stick, well, your opponent's gonna say ick. Alright, that was bad. So this is Caleb's card. Enemy damage, can't be deadly. That seems very specific. That is a very oddly specific text. Play a unit with cost 5 or less from the enemy void. It gets charge and flying. Sacrifice it at the end of the turn. So you play this and you Haunted Scream your opponent's deck. That's neat. I guess this actually seems really strong, right? Like, just playing this like beefy 2/6 that just sits there and blocks, and then you steal one of their guys, and like if... yeah, this seems good. It won't go into like a 5-power matters deck, but I can see a lot of different decks are happy to have this card. So yeah, if they're playing like creatureless Horu, I guess you just get owned because you're playing a 4-power 2/6. As Glorious Chat is mentioning, Fire is never going to have a way to kill this without doubling up spells and kill spells and guys. You can also put Jack into play, as people are mentioning, which is hilarious. So, yeah, this seems good. I imagine we'll see a lot of this card. It only costs 1 Shadow Influence for some reason, so this is going to be splashable. It's going to be main deckable. It's going to be sideboardable. You could put this in a transpose board if you wanted to, but it might just be a main deckable card. So, yeah, expect this card to see some play. I don't know if it's going to be that crazy. I think what might happen is, like, if you know Dr. Zeitrom's in the meta, maybe you don't play ridiculous 5-drops that just win the game for your opponent. Oh yeah, Thor Kettle 5's got a good point. If you play Spire Shadows, this guy is a 2-power 4/6, which is neat. So that's definitely something that could go into a Spire Shadow deck. Next up, we've got Distracting Flashbang. When the wielder hits the enemy player, steal one of their... Oh, I saw this card. This card makes me unhappy. That's... As someone who likes to play big, shitty relics, anytime they print something like this that's just, like, decent enough on its own and takes your relic, it's just frustrating. I think if you're already taking the tempo loss of playing relics into a meta that has, like, boars and stuff, and everyone is playing Market Relicate, I don't know. It is really slow, and it's only going to be good against decks that I play. So that sucks. You know, World Pyres and Mask of Torments. I guess one cool thing about this is in the past, we had, like, what? A few options. If you wanted to deal with relics, like, retroactively after they're in play, we literally had Burglarize. So now we have Distracting Flashbang that we can have as a market option. And I could see this being a market option in a mid-range deck, or for mid-range or anything more aggressive may want this. I think this is better than Burglarize, just because, you know, you put this on a lifesteal minion or something, or you're playing an aggressive deck, you're already pretty happy with just playing, like, big dudes. The downside of this, though, compared to Burglarize, is one, it's not 4 power, so you can't transpose it, lol. But I guess you can crack the Earth it. I'm getting off point here, though. The downside of this is you have to actually hit them. But the upside is, if you do hit them, you can just, you know, keep stealing stuff. And, yeah, if they're playing, like, a tap-out control deck, and you just, like, play this and attack them, they're gonna be sad. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't like how easy it is to put Relicate into, like, every single deck, and I already feel the misery of that. Now I feel like if I'm playing Relics, I'm basically obligated to play, like, 4 Transpose and a ton of Aegis spam. And even then, I still get my relics destroyed, so I don't know. Maybe this is healthy for the game, and maybe I just like to play degenerate stuff, and I deserve to get punished for it. But let's move along. Pull into Nightmares. Play a unit with cost 5. Ooh. Say no more. Say less. It buffs, and if you're playing fire, it gets double damage, and time makes it fast. That's cool. These effects are kind of underwhelming to me, but if you give something killer and then, like, it already has overwhelm, so, like, let's say this is a behemoth we're resurrecting, and, like, then it's, you, like, Twilight Instinct it, and it's, like, an 8/9. And then you play this, and it's a 9/10 with double damage at the end of their turn, and, like, killer and overwhelm. That's something you can do. And, yeah. I don't really understand the name. Wouldn't it be pull from Nightmares? But, this is cool. It's some love for FTS decks, so I like to see that. I've been playing a lot of, like, trolly, shrine decks that like to have fire, time, shadow. So I know that deck would probably want this card. Probably putting like Strange Burglar into play, the one that like draws you 3 and stuff. You could put the card I think I'm gonna have the most fun. This is the last card, right? Let's look at the next card, and then I'll go back and talk about the card I'm most excited to pull into Nightmares. So Fate, if you have a unit in your forward, play a 4/1 sellsword that can't block. What? So this just gives you no Keller influence, and then no faction influence, and then you get a 4/1 if you have a dead guy. Seems fine. I'm into it. I guess any mono faction aggro deck just got a new tool, and yeah, seems good. Let's look at the card I am excited to. So what? So this is pull into Nightmares, and you can give whatever you grab double damage, and if it's 5 time, it's fast. So the reason why this is gonna be cool. Reveal the Dovahkiin. The Dovahkiin himself. Is it sorted by 7s right now? What did I do wrong? Oh, unowned. And I like own everything. That's why. Alright, moving along. Here he is. Dova the Fearmonger. Mastery 10, play possessed by horrors on the enemy player. So if we play this at the end of their turn, we're gonna have a 6/6 Dova in play with double damage, his usual sack effect, and if we attack and he doesn't die, or we like give him killer or something, then we get Cursed Dragons for the rest of the game. Yeah, sign me up. Sign me up. Another fun thing you can do with this, I say fun, but it's really not that much fun. And this is in the same factions too, so you could play this in the same deck. We can play Fear Tracker. So that's 6 damage, and then you have a 6/5 with double damage just sitting there. Next up, we've got... Where did they go? You could do it with Shadowlands Tyrant too, which is also pretty neat. Not as good, but being a 7/5 with double damage, sure. That's a lot of life. Who else? Umbran Reaper. So these are the 3, I think, most obvious cards you could do it with. If you're playing like a more sacrifice-based, like mid-rangey deck. This will come into play. And if your opponent doesn't have any flying, that's a 20-point life swing if you have a way to sacrifice it. That's a lot of life by my math. And yeah, as Onantic mentioned, a lot of these cards are also Primal Screamable. Just dodge Zytram, I guess, and it's pretty good. There's a lot of other stuff that's good too, like even just Scrap Tank or like Shatterglass Mage. There's a lot of cool stuff we can do here. I mean, Vicious Highwayman. Any 5-drop's gonna be solid, but Dova I think is the spiciest one. And then obviously there's just Aled's funny, but where is? You could do it with Yushkov. Yushkov is cool, and but yeah, let's just check out Behemoth here. And where did it go? Starts with an S, right? World Bearer Behemoth. So end of their turn, you put this guy into play, and it's a 7/8 with double damage and overwhelm. So that represents 14 damage. And if you've played, let's look up Twilight Instinct. Oh, sorry, Twilight Hunt. Twilight Hunt. That guy is like a 9/10 or something with double damage and killer, and that's like a one-shot right there. So yeah, I look forward to screwing around with this. If you're struggling to hit the influence, I mean, there's already quite a few homies that are 5 power that combo with this quite nicely. If you're already like killing stuff and playing guys, you can just play. Where is he? We can play Ixtal, and we can play Behemoth, or World Bearer Behemoth, and then both of these guys. This is for Throne, but both of these guys put influence into play, and yeah, seems cool. As Royalty said, all of these shenanigans just get shut down by a Dazzle, and that sucks, but that can happen. Yep, nothing else to talk about. Those are my thoughts on the new cards. Will be kind of neat to see what people do. And I think it'll be most fun in Expedition. So we'll see a lot of spice in Expedition, and maybe not so much in Throne. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, so this will be the first deck I probably mess around with in the new set. Are we even playing Crack the Earth here? We're not. We're using Smuggler to go into the market and Broker. Got this. So this card is Shadow. Wonder if it lets me add it to my deck. It does. So yeah, we'll add Pull into Nightmares into the market. We can grab it with Senway Smuggler, and we can grab it with Broker, and brokering it seems hilarious. I'm actually going to play a few more Dovas, just because of the synergy. And, what else do we want here? We can add, our deck already doesn't care about turn to seed as much, because we just sack the seeds, so I don't really see a need to play the Gardener. Let's add another Vox, and maybe, see what 5-drops we have in this format. We can just slide right in. Fear Tracker. Fear Tracker certainly counts. Forgot to sort by Expedition. Yeah, we can add a Fear Tracker. That seems fine. So we'll say an Expedition deck for Awakening. And like I said, I think Expedition will be the place where these decks, like these new cards, have the most initial impact. So that'll be something to look out for. So with the new card, if we wanted to play Stone Scar, that's the wrong card. Where's it at? Pull into Nightmare. This version probably main decks Pull into Nightmare, and then I'd want to make this a Throne deck, so let's do that. We're gonna play good 5-drops. This is probably more aggressive than other versions of this, but we'd play Fear Tracker. And where is it? Play Shadowlands Tyrant, why not? And then Umbran Reaper. Actually, let's put Tyrant in the market. We'll play Tazbu. Yeah, so that's cool. And then we just, like, play your typical mid-rangey, like, Stone Scar deck. So we need 4. We're gonna need 5 Shadow, so I guess maybe Tazbu's a little zealous of us. What other 5 drops do we get? Maybe there's some good fire ones. That seems funny. Oh, there's always Yushkov. This seems fine. Let's click one in just for now. So Yushkov would be just big enough to actually turn on this Koro Palace. So that's kind of funny, if he doesn't just outright kill your opponent. And then maybe there's some multi-color cards we'd be interested in. Highwayman. That's probably all for the... This deck seems pretty beefy, too. And then from here, we're just looking to, like, enable this stuff. So I still probably wouldn't... I don't think I'd, We're definitely a Spirit Tracker deck. Or a Spirit Weaver. So this list would want Spirit Weaver, and then we're just gonna play, like, good stuff and try and kill our opponent before they do stuff. So grab some market cards. Kill them before they kill us. It's always a good way to play. And we'll just play other good stuff. Just generic, but it's really hard to go wrong with some of these cards because they're just too good. And then just probably a big removal pile. Like, slam some removal in. Maybe some self-discard. I'm not sure what we'd want here. Jack discards, so that's something. But I honestly think we're okay with just playing our 5 drops and letting them die. Or discarding them with Jack. But if we wanted to get some synergy, maybe there's something else we can play. Yeah, like Wing Brewer could be good, but it's a little slow. Honestly, not a lot of good stuff. I feel like you just play this as a good stuff deck that happens to just be playing 4 pull into Nightmares. More so than anything else. We could use Quarry. So that'd be another way. And then... yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about self-discarding, because they're going to naturally be killing your stuff. Maybe you could play Hot-Blooded Barbarian if you wanted to, but... yeah, I think between Jack and Quarry, you're probably fine with just that. Then the rest of our cards can just be removal. So we'll play, like, Torch. And then... maybe Seer or something. So, yeah, this is how I would, obviously not finished and not tuned, but I could see this list just really punishing your opponent with pull into Nightmares. This isn't at the end of the turn, you'd just be slamming this on your turn. But, and actually with that in mind, Yushkov doesn't get as good whenever he doesn't have haste. But, so maybe some of these other options are a little better. But, or even like Shadowlands Tyrant. But that's kind of where my head's at. I think this card's pretty good, and even if you're not trying to build some greedy mid-range deck, you could just dump a freaking Jack into play, and that's just fine. So these are the kind of decks that I'd want to play in the next set, and it'd be interesting to see what else people want to do with it. But yeah, so this is the other deck I'd expect to see a reasonable amount of, and this could be Enthroned too. Well, it would be. Of just new stuff in. So people would just add Fierce Protection to their at any cost deck, or any base fine deck. This card will be quite fine in. And depending on what your opponent's up to, if it's a slower strategy, giving yourself Aegis and then just playing one of their things seems good. If we're already deciding to like sit there and kill stuff, this seems fine. I guess where this also gets pretty funny is if you Rindra them and they like dump some big slow card from their hand and then you just blow them out with Fierce Protection. That seems good. This list is already looking to stack Shadow, so it's not going to be really hard to hit this effect. And yeah, so this is the other place one of the other cards I expect to see getting played fairly early on. Yeah. That'll be neat. This is kind of the other deck I'd expect to see people playing once we get the new set. Some sort of Talir combo deck that, let's sort by unowned. There we go. Maybe this is just something that I'd expect myself to play, honestly, just because I like Talir combo, but... Oops, I wanted to grab that card before it went away. Time, etchings. Definitely a 4 of. Favored. 4 of. I guess the one thing too is you have to make sure you get this 3 shadow somehow. That could be a bit of a struggle, but whatever. Sure, it'll be fine. We'd get to play 4 Twilight Hunts, which just goes super well with these Ascendings and these Behemoths. And then, we're probably playing Initiate of the Sands. Some market access here. Let's go all in on that. And it looks like I accidentally made just like a mono time deck, but could be how this deck wants to play. Maybe Devour isn't as good here. We could just play some more Ramp instead. So what, like Tokus? And maybe Crack the Earth Market here? Maybe not. So we'll put Grodov's Burden in here. And of course the Praxis Champion. Where is he at? Boom. And then there's that 2-drop that gives us influence. Probably be pretty clutch in this list. Where is it at? I must have skipped over it. Oh, here we go, Trailmaker. And that's a 50-card deck. Yeah, this is the other thing I think people might play. Actually just move Talir into the market here. And then play some Dark Returns. Then yeah, it's kind of up to you how you want to tune this, if you want main deck Talir or not. If you're playing the more budget version, maybe you don't. But this could be pretty solid. Maybe this version wants some Devours or something, but Yeah, I'd expect this to be just kind of like a force coming up, and then maybe we add like a Swirl the Sands or something, just to kind of round the list out, or like a Banish. And yeah, this could be something cool that you could do with pull into Nightmares. We're already playing these like really super awesome 5-drops, and we can give one of them Killer, and then pull into Nightmares it. It won't have double damage, but you could still get a lot of mileage out of this card even without that, and potentially could splash fire or play fire as well and try and get there. But that would probably be really difficult. Not really sure how you'd pull that one off. Maybe with like a lot of strangers. But yep, this is another list I could see people playing.